Assalamu alaikum. How are you everyone? This is Dr. Ala, consultant emergency physician in Saudi Arabia. Today, inshallah, we'll speaking Englishly about introductions for an English introduction to the shock. It is not, inshallah, it will not be only the one lectures, it will be more lectures. This is just introductions, just to try to collect it or gathering any information here. It will help you a lot in the next lectures, how to understand, how to treat it, how to assess, how to differentiate it, how to give medications. It's a lot of series of lectures regarding to the shock, inshallah, we'll discuss later. But now is the base. Now is the starting. You have to listen well, listen carefully for every single informations here, because it is very condensed informations, alas, and it will help you, inshallah, to understand well what is the meaning of the shock. Alas, we're starting by the definition. Look at this board. There is two organs here. One organ full of the blood and one organ less of the blood. This is called perfusion. Perfusion. The first information I wanted to tell you about perfusion is amount of the blood. Amount. Yani for example, 300 cc, 400 cc, 500 cc like this. But because this amount is usually changeable, the blood come in and the blood come out, we call it perfusion. But perfusions, what I mean by perfusion actually, I mean by perfusion, it is amount. This is the very crucial important. It is not a blood pressure. It is not hemoglobin level. It is amount of the blood. How much this organ is contained. I'll give you one example. If any time, say for example, someone cut his hand and they started to put the blood in the small bottle, and you count or calculated how much amount of the blood in these organs is equal, for example, 100 cc of the blood. If you cut the same limb in other organs with less perfused, and you will find, for example, 50 ml normal saline. This means the amount of the blood in this organ is less. This amount is called perfusion. So what is the shock? Well, shock is a state that makes the perfusion less. Perfusion in which? In perfusion in organs, in the brain, in the heart, in the kidneys, in the limbs, like this. How to assess? So the diagnosis of the shock, whatever the type of the shock, is depend on the decreased perfusion. If we prove that perfusion is less in this organ, we prove the patient have a shock. And this is all our, most of the studies depend on how to assess, how to diagnose the shock of the patient, how to diagnose the shock of the patient, because the shock is very, very difficult to be diagnosed, how to assess the amount of the blood inside the organs, to see, okay, these organs have less blood, so the patient have a shock state. It actually, nowadays, we are depending on the organ, function of the organ itself. For example, if the perfusion decreases in the brain, we said, okay, the brain is will have some symptoms like disturbed consciousness and disoriented, like this. And this means maybe the blood is very low, but if we join this information with other informations like hypotension, blood loss like this, then we can get the shock diagnosis. Inshallah, the next lecture will be how to assess the shock and how to diagnose the shock. So now we are stick to the introductions only. So the first part of the introduction, I need to know shock is a state leads to decreased perfusion, amount of the blood to the tissue. So the tissues is working peoples. They need food, they need to do jobs, they need like this. So they need blood. If you decrease the amount of blood, they will deteriorate, they will be damaged, they will be destroyed. Okay? Yeah, but this is the first part of the shock, اللي هو perfusion. طيب, who is responsible to ensure that enough blood reaches to each organ? This is what is called this is the system of the shock. This is the machine inside our body. Machine, many parts is responsible for this blood perfusion. Imagine it's our blood like brain, kidney, heart, muscles, GIT, skin. This is all our part of the body. It is like a building, many roofs. Okay, I need for this building to send amount of water to all this building. I mean by water is the blood. So when should I start? Start from the tank. I make a big tank, and this tank contains a lot of the blood. So the amount of the blood is very important. Usually 70 to 80 ml per kg in adult, can reach to 90% ml per kg in pedia. It's equally in average from 5 to 6 liters per year. This is our tank, this is our volume. This is the most important. How can to perfuse? And one of the most important, how can to perfuse to the tissue, and I have already no water in the tank. The tank mainly presented in the veins. Veins contain more than 70% of our tank, 20 to 25 in capillary only. So the main tank of our is our veins. All tissues send their blood to the vein, to the tank. Then the tank will take to the pump. This is the pump. What our pump? It is a motor. If you are living in a very big building like this, and you have to make some motor here to raise the water to the top of the building. Same. The heart here is considered the pump, the motor. What is the benefit? You will take blood from this bank, and it will send to our pipes. So what is this machine's formed of? Formed of three main parts. First part is heart rate, which can easily be controlled by the assisted by the monitoring. Stroke volume, which is easily be now assisted by the ultrasound rush exam, and valves, which also can be easily by bedside echo and rush exams inside. So these are three parts of this pump: heart rate, the numbers, frequency of pumping; stroke volume, contractility to evacuate most of the blood; and valve, and this blood will move inside it to get out to the. If any of these valves is affected, so the patients will suffer from a lag to take blood from the tank and to send it to the pipe. Okay. Again, what is the main target of this pump? What is the main target of this pump? The main target of this pump is raise the pressure. The pressure in the veins is actually equal 0 or maybe minus when it reaches to the heart. The pump now will take the blood and make a pressure, high pressure on it, to send it in the pressure tube. There is one tube, we called it arteries. Big arteries. And this big arteries is very small amount, small space. It can contain only 5% of the blood. 5% of blood. I cannot take more because it is very big. The muscular wall cannot be expanded easily, have facility to contract also. So the space inside the artery is very minimum and very small. Okay, and to make the water reach to the top of the building, I need high pressure to send this blood to the top of the building. How can we do that? The pump starts pushing the blood in the pipe, fill it with the water. But I need pressures here. So if I need pressures here, I must do two things. Here and here. Here must be closed. And must be a valve, and this valve will not allow the blood to come back again to the pump. Otherwise, the pressure here will become low. Then I will make a valve here, not allow the blood to go to the tissue. So the blood will be trapped until the pressures become very high, 95. Mean arterial pressure, systolic 120, diastolic 80, but the main pressure, the most important, is more than 90. So pressure become high from 0 to 90 pressures. Then these tubes will be open. Then the blood will flow to the tissues. Be careful. If the patients have a problem here, we call it's obstructive shock. We call it obstructive shock. Why? Because The pump is okay, tank is okay, but the heart machine cannot pump, cannot pass to the pressure point. Sometimes happens with tension pneumothorax, sometimes happens tension tamponade, sometimes happens with HOCA. Many diseases can cause obstructions, and this is called obstructive shock. But also, the problem can be here. It's leak. All the blood, I try to build up the blood, but the blood is leak without building pressure. This is called distributive shock, and we have many things in distributive shock, like anaphylactic shock, septic shock, neuroleptic shock, whatever. And Chala will discuss later the details, all types of the shocks and how to manage and how to assist. But now we are stick to the pathophysiology introduction. Okay, understand until this point? Okay. When the blood is reached to this building, some building contain rich customer. Very rich customer. They have money, have like this. I want most of the water of you. And some tissues is very poor customers, and they will take only few amount of water. Water is cost, water is blood, blood is expensive. So the rich take more, the poor take less. This is life, okay? So how come the blood distributed thing is? Imagine the brain meson equal 1,500 milligrams of the tissues, يعني kilo, 1 kilo and a half. Kidney 300 gram. Heart only 300 gram like this. All of them not exceed 2 kilo 500 grams and half gram. The three of them take nearly 40 or more % of our blood. But imagine the muscle, 25%. GIT, 25%. Skin, only 5%, huge organ. But how the body doing like this, control like this? We need a control panel. We need something, okay, go to the brain, give more, go to like this, because the brain not understand. We have to, this is control panel here. There is autonomic nervous system and the endocrine. So what we will do? In the brain and kidney first, he will come to the brain and kidney and put special vessels. And these special vessels leave the control to the tissue itself. Main control to the tissue itself. It's called autoregulation. What is the meaning of autoregulation? The brain and the kidney is the one who determine how much water, how much flow reach them, not the body. Body not control. But already I need from you pressure only. Yeah, main arterial pressure at least more than 60 here, and at least more than 70 or 80 here, alas, to produce enough. Then I will take whatever the blood I want. If I take all the blood, I will take it. This is called the autoregulation. Autoregulation means the mechanism of control panel, I give it to the brain and the kidney to regulate it. We'll speak it later about them. So the brain and the kidney, small amount, take 35% of your blood easily. But if the pressure here is become very, very minimum and very, very low, there is no even enough blood to reach to them. They will take blood more and more, but they will not able to control the amount, to keep the amount fixed. But what about the heart? Heart, no control. I give him one tube like this, without any guard. If any blood reach here, will go to the blood heart. No control. If any blood just pass to the coronary, it will go to coronary. It's very easy. But the heart is taking only 5%. So what is the secret? And why the heart is not taking more than the brain and the kidney? Why the heart? Heart is not under control, not under autonomic nervous system. Usually alpha equal to the beta, beta on the blood vessels. Usually depend on the local tissue pressure. But the main in the heart is no control. Heart depends only the contraction, the contractile organ. When it is contract, no blood will come, because all the blood vessels will be contracted. When it is relaxed, he will take all what the blood he wants. That's why there is no control for the heart. Heart is controlling by how much is the systole, how long is the systole, it controls about more than 70% of heart perfusion. But if we want to add 25% more for the heart, sometimes local tissues produce some mediators to make the blood vessels more dilated and added 20 to 30% of the perfusion more. But the main perfusion depends on the time of the diastole and the time of the systole. The blood will go during diastole relaxation, and it will stop flowing during systolic times. And that's why it's not all the blood, too much blood go to the heart rather than the kidney. Okay. But what about the other tissues? Other tissue, I'll give him a panel, but under tight control of the sympathetic nervous system. It's controlled like this. Okay, I will not give you, except I'm sure that the brain and the kidney and heart taking there enough. Then I will give you some. I will give you some depending on the sympathetic. If the blood flow here is low, brain, he will screaming. I have less blood. So they say, it's okay, don't worry. I will send you more blood. From where he cut this blood? From the tissues. Okay, he will decrease the flow, then increase sympathetic, make the flow up, make the pressure up to reach the brain. Okay, this is the body how handle the perfusion, how distribute the perfusions of the shock. خلاص. طيب, if any defect in these things can decrease the perfusion. So what is the reason? What is the causes can cause hypoperfusion? Just in introduction, we'll go to details inshallah in other lecture. First time is hypovolemia. All our tank is low, so there is no enough blood to build it in the pressure pipe. It is called hypovolemia. Second one is called cardiogenic. One of these three is affected. Okay, no, the volume is okay. I put the probe here in IVC. IVC is full, blood is full, patient no signs of hypovolemia. So I will go to the next step. It is a pump. Check the pump. How to check the pump? Attach the patient to the monitor and take the probe, put it on the heart. Check the valve and contractility stroke volume to check pump. Okay, pump is working. Okay, pump is not working. I have to add some help. Any trope of vasopressors. If there is heart problems, I can use electrical pacemakers if it is bradycardia, cardioversion if it is tachycardia, defibrillator if it is some type of tachycardia, like VF or VTAC, regular VTAC. Like this, I control the heart rates by current, electricity, and control stroke volume and control the valve. I think acute valve problems, it's better to be aggressive, and then with cardiac aids tools like intra-aortic balloon, counter pulsation, and urgent operations, and the treatment of the cause. Whatever. And treatment of the cause, one of the most important cause is MI, alas, that can cause affect the stroke volume. We can help it. Okay, I have now a situation, no blood to the pump. We have to send fibrin analytic therapy or crash BCI. Life-saving BCI, we can use it. We'll discuss later. Okay. Then the problems and obstructions here, which I have tension, so I have to relieve it. Tension tamponade, I have to relieve it. Like this. Pressures here in the pipe. Problems here, like the total peripheral resistance. I have the patient fluid to be sure he's not dehydrated. Then I will stop here by using strong vasopressors to control this pipe to make these pressures high. At the end of this lecture, I just want to explain the basic steps that inshallah in the next lectures we'll go on these steps, step one by one. And don't be panicked. It's very simple. We'll use step and discuss, because shock is very crucial, important. Sometimes patients came to you, for example, his blood pressure 70/40, but he's conscious oriented. Okay, he's not in the shock state. Shock not means the blood pressure is low. Shock means the perfusion is low. So we are searching for perfusions, how to assess perfusions. How to assess perfusion. In the next lecture, inshallah, we'll discuss about the assessment of the shock, every point of the shock, how to assess. Okay. Thank you everyone, and if you like the video, please share this channel. and subscribe and share it with your friends. We need to more information, and your comment is very important to me. If you send me some comments, it's very good to me. Thank you too much.